thank you for joining me. I do appreciate it. Name's Tim, and it's terrific. And I want to talk today about a book that I got from an author that I had never heard of until I heard of him. The author is named Michael W. Glover, and the book is Saint Sebastian the Rose. This is book one of the Lonely Tower series. And I stumbled into Michael on, I think it was a Suntup Collectors Facebook group. And he mentioned something about having books. So I simply went on to Goodreads and mashed them buttons and found a Michael Glover and a Michael W. Glover, and I stumbled into this series of books, these three right here. And reading about them, they sounded interesting. So I made some comment to Michael, I don't remember, something favorably saying, yeah, they sound good, like I ought to read them. And so we had a little bit of correspondence, and he sold me a set of books, all signed, sent me some posters and some really cool things to go with the books also. I showed you that stuff on a separate video. And I've had a rough time, but I got through the books I had to read. I had a lot of other stuff going on. Rough time as in lots of time spent doing other things and not getting reading in. Large chunks, 4, 5, 6 days, where I wouldn't read a single word out of a book. And I was reading, I can't remember what I was reading. I was reading a book, and then I had to get to the Magus, and I struggled a little bit with that book. It was good, but I don't know. Didn't love the Magus. I didn't hate it. Didn't love it. And then I jumped on to Saint Sebastian the Rose. Finally got to it, and I read this one, and I finished it. I haven't read the other two in what I'm assuming is a trilogy. It's the 3 books that are out right now anyway. But I read through Saint Sebastian the Rose, and everywhere I go, the whole world, people stop me on the street and they say, hey, Tim, what did you think about Saint Sebastian the Rose? And I tell them, you got to just wait. Just wait. I'll tell everybody all together. I'll make a little video and I'll put it out there in the YouTube land and show the world what I thought about this book. So without any further ado, let me tell you a little bit of something about this book. Sadly enough, as much as I hate to admit it, I'm not well read on vampires. Of course, I've been around vampire stuff since I was a little child. My mom loved classic movies, so I was watching all sorts of vampire movies and hearing all about vampire lore and stuff like that. And I just haven't read a lot of vampire books. Very, very few. But essentially with Saint Sebastian the Rose, this book takes place around a castle monastery. And I don't believe it said the year. If it did, I don't remember, but it's modern. The folks pull up in a taxi that talks about not having televisions and stuff like that. They talked about doing research on the internet and stuff. So it's a modern book, but it's in an ancient monastery, and they don't have all of the modern comforts of home. So it's almost like going back in time a little bit. But I really like this book. I want to say probably the thing I think that this book has best going for it, in my opinion, I'm no expert, are the characters. There are a lot of characters in here that I really felt like I liked them a lot. Some dear characters, some good people, truly good characters. So being in their world, being around them, made you really love these people, made you feel good about them. Not only the titular character, Sebastian, but the monks, Father Donovan, who is sort of the elder leader. I don't remember if there's a title for him, but he's the one that everybody looks to for guidance and such as that. Father Matthew, who's sort of a younger monk, who's very close friends with Sebastian. There's Father Lemoyne or Lemoine. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he seems to be up to date on the weapons and the lore and such as that of the tower, the monastery there. Some great characters, and you get a brief amount of time getting to know a little bit about Sebastian and a couple of the monks, and then they have visitors. Right off the bat, they're preparing for visitors. A guy by the name of Thomas Ridgway, who is a sort of a historian, and he's coming to the monastery to research their library, their vast, expansive library full of volumes of books that maybe haven't been read in centuries. But Thomas Ridgway's coming to do research in their library, and he's brought his two teenage kids, his son Jacob, 17, I think, 17 or 18, maybe about to turn 18, and his daughter Jessica. And so they're bringing in these modern day teenagers into this ancient monastery with these monks and this character named Sebastian. And they don't, right off the bat, you don't really find out what it is. You kind of learn it as it goes. But Sebastian is a vampire. When the teenagers come in, the Father Donovan says, "Oh, this Sebastian, he's not a monk, but he lives here. He's 17." Which is kind of true, I guess. He became a vampire at the age of 17, so he hasn't aged. So he's being passed off as a 17-year-old. So the teenagers, they're messing around the castle, exploring, sneaking at night, looking around, just being nosy and having a good time. Their dad, Thomas Ridgway, is doing lots of research, and Sebastian every night goes out. And one night while he's out, he meets an unknown companion. He's referred to as his companion. Somebody he doesn't know, but this companion warns him. They're coming. They're coming. They want to take back their castle, their tower. They want to take it back. They want what's in it. It's theirs. They're vampires. And you're slowly let in to what's going on with that part of the story. So Sebastian goes back out again one night. Meanwhile, the teenagers, Jacob and Jessica, follow him, and they are attacked. They see Sebastian fighting off these magical creatures. They see the companion protects them, and they end up running and becoming trapped in an old broken down mausoleum, I think is what it was. A mausoleum, an old broken down mausoleum at an old church. There, Sebastian kind of explains to him, yes, these are vampires. You saw it. There's no denying it. They saw it, but he doesn't clue him in yet to what he is, that he is also a vampire. So he's a vampire. He has resisted the urge to go join with his creator, Baldric, and his clan, and he's gone towards the light, and he lives with these monks, and he tries to do well, and he feeds in a different way. We'll let you read the book. You'll find out. He feeds in a different way. He's not out there eating chickens or goats or anything like that, but he feeds in a different way that's acceptable, that's tolerable, that's not viewed as bad or taking or anything like that. In the meantime, they find out that an earlier story that was told to the teenagers about an ancient battle that occurred at the towers of these dark warriors that were hard to kill, that the monks had the special methods to fight off these attackers. And so they start putting the pieces together. You figure out, okay, those attackers were vampires. Now the vampires are coming back to take this monastery, to take this tower, because there's stuff there that they really want. At some point, the teenagers find out, they figure it out, they find out that Sebastian is himself a vampire. Along the way, Jessica falls in love with Sebastian, and Sebastian falls in love with her. So you got all these things going on, and then you're leading up to a lot of conflicts between personalities and this larger looming battle that will occur. So I won't tell you any more than that. But needless to say, there's a lot of old time battle stuff going on here. Spears and crossbows and swords and stuff like that. There's a lot of it going on. So it's kind of fun throughout. I think maybe the midway point in the book, I think you start getting some battling going on. So it's lots of action in here. There's monks fighting. There's vampires fighting. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. But I really liked a lot of the characters. The bad guys are bad guys. The good guys are good guys. Lots of good people that truly care, as you would hope. In a monastery full of monks, you would hope it would be good people that care a lot. But also the bad guys are ones that you really wish they weren't there. and you really want ill for them all, for them to go away. I strongly recommend this book. I'm excited to get to book 2 and book 3 of this set. I've got some books right now that I've got to read. I've got several sitting right here that I got to get to. In fact, one of them is not one that I really even want to read that much. It's called Percy Jackson and the Olympians, but it's something that my older son is going to be reading in school this year, and I told him, hey, I'll read this with you. You read Animal Farm by George Orwell with me. We'll read together. I'll read while he reads his own book. We'll read together, and so that's a commitment that I have. Wasn't my choice, but he picked that one. Anyway, I've got some stuff I got to read, but then I'm going to jump into book 2. So I showed you book 1, and you can see there our character Sebastian walking away into the mist, into the woods, with his back to the picture. I don't know if this stuff really applies or not, but I notice book 2, Saint Sebastian, Bed of Roses, book 2 of the Lonely Tower series, we got a side view of Sebastian. He's cloaked like before, but there's a lot of roses, and he's picked a rose in the illustration there on that front. Very awesome picture work here. But then in book 3, we see him from the front. A whole lot more of Saint Sebastian walking towards us, walking between 2 pillars of sorts covered in vines. And you can see he's wearing, if you look closely, he's wearing modern clothing. So it feels a little more modern in the illustration. You can see the face, you can see the glowing eyes. And that's the thing also in the story, glowing eyes. Glowing red, glowing blue, not glowing at all. That's a part of the story as well. I strongly recommend it. Check out Michael W. Glover, Saint Sebastian the Rose. I think Amazon has these for sale. I think so. I saw them for sale. I think it was Amazon. You can buy them there. But good books. I strongly recommend it. I think if you give number 1 a chance, you'll definitely want to read number 2. It's just that kind of book. I feel like I paused a story, and now I want to get back to it. Anyway, good things come to those who wait. But a great story, great book. I can't wait to get to number 2 and number 3, and I can think of no more lies to tell. So thank you for your time. I do truly appreciate it. C'est la vie, baby. Do-do.
C'est la vie, baby.